Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. I am here and I'm going to be playing Distant Worlds Universe right now. I am very excited to have you guys join me for my very first video of a Let's Play. In Distant Worlds Universe, it is actually a fairly complicated game, one that actually took me quite a long time to even get started to understand. This took a long time of me actually looking up tutorials online and trying to figure out how the hell the game's actually supposed to play, because it is very complicated. The tutorials are nice, however, they don't give you all the details and information. They have a really cool Galactopedia over here, and if you click on that, this will actually give you all of the information in the game. However, as you can tell just by the components here, that's actually a lot of information to go ahead and take a look at. So as we play the game, we'll probably be popping up this window a little bit to go ahead and teach us both a little bit about how to play the game. But for now, I'm going to go ahead and start a new game. Now, what I know about this so far is that when you first start up, you're going to want to go ahead and set up a custom game. Now, an introductory game is a great game if you're just getting started. However, if you want to finagle a little bit with the options, I would go ahead and recommend that you do a custom game as a standard empire. Now, there are a couple of different options when you first start the game. The first options that you're going to run into are the options of how the galaxy is going to look. You have elliptical, spiral, ring, irregular, even clusters, or varied clusters. Now, these are all pretty obvious as to what they do as you click on them. I'm going to go ahead and do an elliptical one. A lot of people either like the spiral or the varied clusters, or the even clusters, my apologies, because it gives everyone a fresh start. It gives them all an even battlefield. I'm going to go ahead and do elliptical just because I think it looks awesome. I don't really have any other reason. So the star amount is the amount of stars that are in your system. You can go ahead and crank that all the way up to 1400 is what I normally do because I love this game, and, well, what I've seen other people do because they love this game and I love it as well. So I'm going to start on the 1400 stars as well. Now for the physical size, if you drop this down any, it'll start to drop this down as well. The smallest you can have is 10 by 10 if you want 1400 stars. 15 by 15 can also work with 1400 stars, but it'll be more spread out with the stars. So these are how big the sectors are, how big the map is. This is how many stars are on the map. So we're going to go ahead and go down to expansion. Now what this is how much expansion your empire has done. Now, pre-warp means you have not yet been able to warp into any other system. Starting means that you have the warp technology, and then young, expanding, and mature and old means that you have other technologies and you have other ways of travel. You also have a very diverse and very set-in-stone empire. I want us to start a pre-warp where all we do is start with one planet, because I think that that's going to be a lot easier for us to take care of. Now, aggression. Aggression is something that I'm going to go ahead and put on peaceful for our first run, because I don't want to go ahead and run into any problems that we might run into if I go ahead and crank this up. Difficulty I'm also going to put on easy. I don't want to put it on any other difficulty because, again, I'm fresh at the game and I want to go ahead and have a little bit of fun, and I don't want too much to attack us or to harm us while we do this. So research costs, I went ahead and put it on normal. I don't want to put it on expensive or cheap because I think that modifies the integrity of how much of the game is supposed to be played, how easy the game is, and I think putting on easy is already a little cheesy for me, so I don't want to do anything more to change this. Space creatures are normal. Pirates I'm going to go ahead and put on normal. If you are starting the game, I would go ahead and put on few, very few, or none, because pirates are a big part of the game. They deal a lot with your empire, and they also attack you a lot. They also have different types of things like sanctions, abilities to protect you, things like that. So you just have to pay them a sum for that. I'm going to go ahead and leave it on normal, and I'm going to put pirate strength on normal as well. Again, if you're starting, very weak or weak is probably something that is very nice to do. Again, I feel a little cheesy putting on easy, so we're just going to leave it on normal as is here. And then we're going to go ahead and go to colonization and territory. Now for this, the colony prevalence, as you see up here, influences the number of colonized planets and moons in the galaxy. Lower prevalence will mean sparser empires with colonies more spread out, while higher prevalence will mean denser empires with colonies closer together. I like the idea of having dense empires, so I went ahead and put that on plentiful, but I think I'm going to stay with plentiful here. Now, independent alien life. What this does is independent alien populations are distributed throughout the galaxy at the start of the game. This setting determines how many of these populations exist in the galaxy and how large each of them are. So what's that saying is, when you first start the game, there will be planets that have aliens on them, and you can go ahead and send troops down there or try and colonize the planet and assimilate them into your empire. Or they can go ahead and uprise and become their own empires as well. So what I went ahead and did, I put that on normal because I like the idea of assimilating different aliens into my population, and if they want to go ahead and stay in an uprising and become independent, I think that's awesome, and I think that would be a lot of fun for flavor, so I'm going to leave that on there as well. The next is our race. The colony influence range is how much. So 71% is the suggested range for 1400 galaxy size of 10 by 10. You know what? I'm going to go ahead and use their suggestion here. And the colonization range is how far you can colonize from one planet to another. I'm going to go ahead and leave that on the 2.5 sectors. I think that is a very good place to start. Next, we're going to do your race. Now, there are many different races, as you can see here, and each one of them has a different unique play style, different unique characteristics, and unique traits. So what I would like to do is I like to play, I hear that the easiest to play is as human. However, I kind of like the way that the Xenex look, just because they look like cats. And I kind of like that myself. So if you look here, they have a natural optimists, which gives them a happiness of 20%. I'm not sure any of this will mean much to you right now, but if you read more about this race, it lets you know that they're very cautious. They have particular interests in a few things, and it lets you know a little bit about the colony and about the characters here. So I'm going to go ahead and just continue on with that. Here you can make your own flag, you can make it look like however you'd want. I'm going to go ahead and do blue and light blue. I like that. And we're going to do a square here. Now the home system. The home system is how well the home system is and how favorable it is. I'm going to go ahead and put that on normal. As I said, I felt a little cheesy putting on easy, so we're going to start that. Now the size, I'd like to be starting because it determines how well established your empire is, and I like to have just one planet here. That is, my empire. The tech level, I'm going to stay at pre-warp. When you start warping, you start to get into a lot of the other things in the game that kind of get thrown at you really fast, and for a learner's perspective, I'm going to leave that on pre-warp so we can learn together. Now the corruption, I'm going to keep it normal. It determines the level of corruption and income loss of the colonies in your empire. To be honest, I have not noticed anything that corruption does yet, but I'll go ahead and see. Also here, you can go ahead and determine where you want your planet to be when you first start the game. You could have it in the deep core, the outer rim, or the inner rim. I'm going to go ahead and put that on random. I like the RNG to go ahead and tell me where to go. RNGesus is favorable for me sometimes. So however the hell you pronounce that word, technology. For the government. It makes the corruption negative 15%, the growth rate normal. Research speed is very important, so plus 50% on that is amazing. Colony income is normal, that's good. Maintenance cost is 10% more, that's not terrible, and troop recruitment is 10% less, which is not terrible as well. And the war wariness is normal, which is totally cool. So we're going to go ahead and do other empires. Now here, you can go ahead and determine how many empires that they can go ahead and generate. If you auto-generate the empires, they will all be auto-generated at the start of the game. I go ahead and do that, and I do it at 11 because that's how the game started. I'm going to go ahead and go to victory conditions. Now what I've done is I've turned off all the victory conditions. I want to play a little bit more of a sandbox mode. I don't want to worry about winning right away. I just want to worry about learning the game and teaching the game as well. So I took all of these and turned them off. Now if you want a particular type of victory and you don't want to focus on any other type of victory, you can go ahead and leave one of these on, or you can turn all of them on if you want a little bit of a civilization approach, if you will. So I will go ahead and start the game here. And it actually takes a little while to start, so if you'll bear with me for a moment, we will go ahead and start here. Good thing about this is actually the only loading screen in the game. So as soon as you load your galaxy, you will be free to roam the entirety of the galaxy and the entirety of the 1400 stars that you have in the galaxy. Each of those stars have different planets. Each of those planets have different things that you can colonize, different things that you can mine. It is a very vast game. It is one that I'm surprised doesn't have as much following as the Civilization games. I'm thinking one of the reasons is because when it first came out, it was very, very buggy. It was something that was really hard to go by, and they've since updated it and patched it a lot to make it a little less buggy. So I think that that'll help quite a bit. Alright, and this kind of tells you a little bit about your ruler, your empire, what's going on in the storyline, and what you should do to start off. What I will do is I'm actually going to go ahead and end this video now, and then I will return back to the video and I will look at what we should do. And I will look at all of that, and I'll read it, as well as we'll look at what we should do for the next steps, and I'll kind of teach you a little bit about the game. Thank you guys so much for joining in with me today, and I hope you have a wonderful day.